Hello, all Purdue Boilermaker fans. Welcome back to the Purdo's and Don'ts podcast. I'm your host, Chris Alvarez, and I'm fired up to be talking more about this crazy week for Boiler basketball. Today, we've got a special guest joining us from deep within the paint crew. Please welcome our guest, Paul Maldonado.
Hey, everybody. This is Paul here. Chris, thank you for having me on.
Of course. Like always, this is your go-to spot for everything Boiler ball, from buzzer beaters to bracket busters, paint crew chants to Mackie Magic. If it happens on the hardwood and it's black and gold, we're talking about it. In this episode titled A Fan's Dream, we're diving into the perspective that a fan has on this black and gold team. And like always, we got takes, stats, and maybe a few hot opinions coming your way. So let's jump right in, boiler up, and hammer down. So once again, thank you, Paul, for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
I know. You know, you're a lucky fan because I've asked quite a bit of fans, with anonymous polls, and I just saw your name, and I was like, I'm going to ask this guy for his opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to share. I love talking about our guys, and yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked for the season upcoming and all that, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the season upcoming, we had quite a few pickups this week, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's been a great week to be a Boiler Ball fan. Omer Meyer, Oscar Clough, those guys are going to be problems.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just wanted as our first guest fan here, I just wanted to do a quick little Q&A, get your opinions on the future of the team and especially with these new pickups. So give us a bit more your opinion on Omar.
So, I believe it's pronounced Omer, actually. I think it's one or the other. I actually don't. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure. Uh-huh. But Omer, he can hoop, man. He's going to complement, I think, Braden and Fletcher perfectly because, I mean, the dude can shoot from anywhere on the court, it would seem. Perfect pairing with Braden and Fletcher because Fletcher has been taking a lot of the load, I think, in terms of three-point shooting and whatnot. Him and C.J. Cox, I think, were the bulk of the three-point shooting this previous season. So Omer will be a big help. And then, of course, Oscar Clough's a huge addition because we need that size. That's what killed us last season. That Houston game missed out on a lot of rebounds. So I think having him in the paint is going to be a huge help for our guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of good young guys on this team because, I mean, I know we love Braden Smith and Fletcher, but, always having those background guys or the backups, come in, get some points off the bench, but they're young, so they're building up this, this idea of what it's like to be on the Boilermaker team. Yeah. But speaking about Brandon Smith, what do you think about him, rejoining, especially with Fletcher and TKR?
That's huge news. Having Braden back is, I mean, with the big three coming back, it's hard not to be excited for next season and think that this is a Final Four team day one.
Right.
On paper, I mean, you could argue it's probably one of the best Purdue teams we've ever had. I know it's definitely the best I've had as a student here. So
exactly, yeah.
Very exciting stuff coming up in the next season here, especially with those three returning.
Right. And speaking about like I said, we're talking about the young guys. With Daniel Jacobson, coming off of that season where he broke his leg or injured himself. How do you think he's gonna help with the team looking forward? Because he's 7'4". So
he is gonna be a massive help. He's a good complement to TKR. Trey kind of filling in that spot that we were missing from him this past season. But, I mean, Daniel Jacobson's just taller,
Right.
That's where we struggled in the Houston game. As I said, we were just lacking height. We couldn't get boards when we needed to. Jacobson's going to be a huge help with that. And then him and Clough are just going to be – I mean, those two guys, having them alone is going to be more than enough, I think, to get us over the hump and maybe even get us to another national championship bid.
Right. So you're excited about the next year, huh?
I'm stoked about next year. I think I think this has to be a championship or bust season. I don't know how everybody else feels about it,
right?
But I know that I feel a certain way, especially with the Final Four being in Indy. It's kind of like the stars are kind of aligning. It feels like. So this is it's very exciting, especially after. All the chatter in the offseason or during the tournament about how Matt Painter can't get it done, this and that,
Yeah, of course.
Or he never uses the portal. It's nice to see us
finally
using the portal and
once,
showing the money a little bit and getting guys in.
Yeah, well, that's all the time we have here for this episode of Purdo's and Don'ts. I want to say a big thanks to our guest, Paul.
Of course, thank you for having me on again.
Of course, whenever. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow fans. We're building a community of diehard Boiler faithful right here. So until next time, boiler up and hammer down. We'll see you on the next episode of Purdo's and Don'ts.